Hello! In this video, I will be highlighting the health practitioners over time spinner wall part of the health and wellness exhibit in Chaska Historical Society. Some of Chaska's pioneer chiropractors. Dr. Carrie Ross Thompson. Even in her youth, Carrie Ross Thompson knew what interested her. She studied technology in school and enjoyed working with her hands, especially when it came to helping patients. She did her undergraduate work at Mankato State and then graduated from Northwest College of Chiropractics in Bloomington, Minnesota. She interned with a chiropractor in St. Paul and became his assistant. Thompson was the first in her family to become a doctor. She loved how pretty the Chaska area was and knew that it had no female chiropractors. She founded Sugar Creek Chiropractic at 1057 Stoughton Avenue in 1987. In addition to chiropractic services, she offers acupuncture, dietary, nutritional, and postural counseling. Chaska and Dr. Thompson have both benefited from our union. Schooled at the University of Minnesota and Northwestern Chiropractic College, Dr. Thomas Sutcliffe opened his practice with his wife, Phyllis's assistants, in 1958, 32 steps up in the old Pine and Second West Simmons building, before moving to the old Dietrich building on the southwest corner of 2nd and Walnut, and finally, in 1970, to 424 Chestnut Street. Commenting on changes in treatment during his time in practice, Sutcliffe noted that some therapy procedures have been improved and upgraded, and more types have been added. There's also much more emphasis on nutrition today. Sutcliffe was a charter member in 1961 and past president of the Chaska Rotary, where he was honored for his dedication of 50 years of perfect attendance. As he edged toward retirement in the 1990s, two of his sons joined his practice, Dr. Robert C. Sutcliffe in 1993 and Dr. Joseph E. Sutcliffe in 1995. Tom enjoyed the outdoors and was an avid golfer, hunter, and fisherman. Tom loved to winter in Florida, where he enjoyed playing golf. Dr. E.C. Hartley, noted Carver and Chaska physician for 50 years, died at his home in Carver on September 19, 1928, a victim of heart failure. He had been ill only briefly, and his death came as a severe shock to his family and friends. Dr. Hartley was born in Pecatonica, Illinois, on the 24th of August, 1855. He spent his early days working on his father's farm. When he was just 9, he was run over in a railroad accident, losing a limb to amputation. At age 16, realizing his life must be changed due to the accident, he turned his attention to education. He attended Beloit College in Wisconsin, then a medical program in Chicago. He graduated with honors from medical college in 1876 at age 21. Hartley suffered an attack of poor health in 1879 and came north to Minneapolis with the hope that the rigors of the North would benefit his health. He was successful in his quest and decided to make Minnesota home. Preferring a small town to city life, he went to Carver and lived there for the rest of his life. On April 21, 1887, he married Miss Bertha Stasher, the daughter of one of Carver's early settlers. They had 5 children, with only 2 surviving their father. Dr. Hartley maintained an office in Carver as well as in Chaska, and his practice reached out in all directions. He had a long and successful career, enjoying the confidence and respect of everyone. His passing was a monumental loss to his family, his profession, and his home community, a truly self-made success story. Dr. Marianne Detchers Canning was born in Chicago, Illinois. She grew up in Valparaiso, Indiana, and as a 12-year-old candy striper with a family physician mentoring her. She decided to pursue medicine. She studied chemistry as an undergraduate at Indiana University. After her first year of medical school, she got married and transferred to the University of Minnesota, where she completed her medical degree, and then her residency at Hennepin County Medical Center. At HCMC, she did a rotation in rural medicine, spending 3 months with the Chaska Medical Center. Local practitioner Dr. Pitsulka became her mentor. Interested in patients of all ages, Dr. Canny decided to become a general practitioner, treating patients from infants to grandparents. She started her practice in 1975 with the CMC, living in Shakopee so that CMC had doctors on both sides of the Minnesota River. She never left the medical center, practicing until 2000. She was able to quickly build her practice and found Chaska patients to be good patients due to Chaska being a farming community and residents thus understanding the circle of life. Dr. Canning and her husband had 3 children while both working demanding jobs. She credits her housekeeper of 10 years with holding everything together by allowing the flexibility demanded by medical calls and duties, etc. They all made it work out together. After deciding in 1986 to pursue her MBA degree at the U of M, Dr. Canning completed it in 1988. She became the first medical director at St. Francis while maintaining her practice in the clinic. 2 years later, she returned to the clinic full-time until 2000. She joined an insurance company working from 2002 to 2011 as medical director until her second retirement in 2011. Dr. Canning points to her relationships with staffs, peers, and patients as a thing that stands out in her 25-year medical career in Chaska. After all these years, she has a patient that she goes to lunch with every year. After delivering babies, some patients brought her flowers. In a small community, she got the opportunity to meet many people. She would see and interact with patients outside of the clinic at the grocery store, school, or wherever in the community. She was able to balance her busy work and professional lives with her family as a wife, mother, daughter, and doctor. Dr. E.H. Lewis was born in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania on April 17, 1842. He lived in Lancaster City until he was 8, and then he moved with his parents to Washington County, Maryland. At 19, he began the study of medicine with William Ward of Clear Spring and graduated from Georgetown Medical College in March of 1862. During the Civil War, he enlisted in Company E, 135th Pennsylvania, as a hospital steward. At the Battle of Chancellorsville on May 3, 1863, he was promoted to assistant surgeon and was transferred to a hospital in Nashville, Tennessee, where he served until the end of the war. Lewis married Jessie Gibson of Georgetown in 1864 and then briefly practiced medicine at Nashville and Washington, D.C. before coming to Chaska in 1872. Dr. Lewis also served as Carver County physician. Chaska's longtime optometrist. Norman Monroe graduated from Millica High School in 1949, attended St. Olaf College, and then enlisted in the United States Navy in 1951 prior to finishing his college studies. He completed his degrees at the University of Minnesota and, in 1958, the Illinois College of Optometry. After graduation, he and his wife Caroline moved to Chaska and established Chaska Eye Care. Monroe's clinic was the first in the Scott Carver area to provide corneal contact lenses. In 1965, he opened a satellite clinic in Shakopee. For the next 25 years, Dr. Monroe and his wife Caroline ran the operation of the 2 clinics, introducing area residents of the latest styles of glasses, contact lenses, and technical innovations. In 1900, their son Stephen joined the practice. Norman practiced for 50 years, retiring in 2008. Norman was active and involved in the community within a variety of organizations, such as the Sugar City and Carver County 4-H clubs and the Chaska Rotary. He was a rare man, strong, with a deep sense of honor and commitment, yet sensitive and open-minded. Norman was a proud veteran and was committed to his community, his optometric practice, and his patients. Norman was a dedicated and loving family man, and was kind to all who knew him. He delighted others with his unique wit, wisdom, and rich sense of humor. Chaska native George G. Idle performed a surgery in Centralia, Washington to remove an ovarian tumor from a woman. The tumor weighed 66 pounds, almost unheard of at the time. The woman recovered. Idle grew up in Chaska, graduated from medical school in 1888, and had a medical career of much recognition and honor. Minneapolis would name Idle Hospital after him. Interestingly, Chaska's most famous physician never practiced there. Dr. John A. MacDonald, a native of Glasgow, Scotland, was born around 1820. He acquired a collegiate education, married Miss Maggie McKinley, and in 1840 went to Nova Scotia, where he was principal of St. Andrew's School for 8 years. He then moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1849 and engaged in teaching for 4 years, prior to moving to St. Paul. He later made a claim at Belle Plaine, where he lived for 4 years. McDonald then attended medical school at Keokuk, Iowa, graduating in medicine in 1860. Enlisted in 1863 as surgeon of the 2nd Cavalry, McDonald served in the Civil War until honorably discharged in 1865. During the time he was a post surgeon at Forts Ridgely and Ripley. Later, he moved from Chippewa County, Wisconsin to Chaska in 1880. He practiced his profession here until 1885. He then moved to California. McDonald died in 1890. Born in 1933 in Albeira, Palestine, Walid Amra immigrated by himself to the United States in 1950 at 17 years old. He began school in biology at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. After 1 year, he became homesick and transferred to Vanderbilt University in Memphis, where he knew a student from his hometown in Palestine. He completed his undergraduate degree and was accepted to Vanderbilt's medical school. After graduating from medical school in 1959, Amra spent the next 7 years in various residency programs. In 1965, Amra joined the U.S. Navy as a lieutenant commander and was sent to Charleston, South Carolina, to operate on wounded soldiers returning from the Vietnam War. During his 2-year stint in the Navy, Walid found time to return to Palestine and marry Widjan, whom he had met through his sister. Walid and Widjan settled in Chaska in 1969, where Walid joined the practice with Dr. Theodore Schimmelpfennig. Amra maintained his private practice in Chaska for over 30 years, while also working at St. Francis Regional Medical Center in Shakopee and Cuello Clinic in Edina. He retired in 2000. Many of the medical tools on display in Tools of the Trade are Amra's that he donated to the Carver County Historical Society. In the days following his death, Widjan received cards about how Wally treated his patients, often not charging them if they could not pay. Instead, he would accept chicken, meat, and produce in lieu of money. He divided his devotion between his patients and his family. Wally and Widjan raised 4 children. He took the best of 2 countries and cultures and blended them together. He fully embraced America but never let go of his homeland and ancestry in Palestine. His family traveled to Palestine, and he sent his wife and children to live in Palestine for a year to fully understand their identity and the danger of life there. Education, both formal and informal, was Amra's pride and joy. In our country, sometimes the only thing you could take with you is your education, said Widjan. He was a lifelong learner, a walking encyclopedia who could talk with anyone about anything. His impact will be felt for a long time, said his daughter Soraya. What a remarkable man in life. And, in brief, a few more. Dr. Peter P.J. O'Laughlin practiced dentistry in Chaska from 1924 to 1969. He had many interests beyond dentistry, including hunting and poker. In fact, when Dr. O'Laughlin built his new clinic on 2nd Street West, he included a basement room where poker could be played. At retirement, he sold the practice to Dr. James Mayerly. H.B. Smith was a jeweler on West 2nd Street who was also a successful and respected optician in Chaska from 1928 to 1974. Milton B. Habison, M.D., born in Carver, practiced medicine in Chaska from 1920 until the mid-1960s. C. R. Heinzerling, M.D., practiced from 1955 to 1979. He was the school board chair from 1967 to 69, as well as the Carver County coroner in the 1960s. Roland D. Pitsutka, M.D., served as a practitioner for Chaska Medical Center at Doctors Park. Richard E. Olson, M.D., began at Valley Medical Center with Dr. Schimmelpfennig. He practiced at Jonathan Lakeview Village 1 Center in the 1970s, later transferring to White Oak Drive and Engler Boulevard. Over the next 175 years that Chaska has been a community, many health practitioners have come and gone. With our limited space, we've highlighted only a few, including some of the pioneers, some of those who have served the community beyond their medical background, and some other longtime Chaska faces. Thank you for watching.